In this free church, we come together without creed, focusing instead on our shared values of justice, equity and compassion, of mutual acceptance of our diverse ways of being in this world, as we seek to connect more fully with the unfolding truths of life. We come together in the firm conviction that community is possible and that peace is more than a dream. We commit together to affirm in our deeds as well as our words the inherent worth and dignity of each and every human being. We come together in awareness of our interdependence with all humanity and with the wider web of existence of which we are a part. We come together to pool our resources, to strengthen our resolve, to build beloved community and truly put our faith into action. And as we gather, we sense our connectedness with all who have come together this morning, all who have ever walked through our doors or joined our gathered community via the internet, all those who may yet discover this place to be their spiritual home. So whoever you are, however you are, wherever you are, know that you are welcome here this morning just as you are. Let us bring our whole selves to this hour of worship. These opening words, adapted from a piece by UU Minister Maureen Killoran, they welcome all who have gathered here this morning for our Sunday service. Welcome to those who are gathered here in person, those who are joining us via Zoom from far and wide. And for anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Jane Blackall and I'm Ministry Coordinator with Kensington Unitarians. Today's service is titled Faith in Action. And in the next hour, we will hear from David Brewerton, Roy Clark, and from Ann Howell, the recently appointed Social Action Officer of the Unitarian General Assembly, about all the good work that Unitarians are doing to help make the world a better place, campaigning for justice, sharing our resources, getting involved in various community projects and projects that align with our Unitarian values. And throughout the service, there's a wider invitation to reflect on how we can each put our faith into action, whether that's as individuals or as a congregation, but starting with ourselves just as we are in this moment, with a clear-eyed look at what capacity we have to act and how we can best put our values into action. But before we go any further, let's take a moment to get settled and centred and ready to worship. We make this hour sacred by our presence and intention. We've each set aside this time to be here together, to attend to the life of the Spirit. We've temporarily laid down our to-do lists and put away everything else that is clamouring for our attention. So let's take a few slow breaths and be here now. I'm going to light our chalice flame as we do each time we gather. A simple ritual which connects us in solidarity with Unitarians and Unitarian Universalists the world over, and which reminds us of the proudly progressive religious tradition of which this gathering is part. We ignite this flame, symbol of our faith, to beckon us into community, to warm our hearts with love, and to give us a light to follow as we carry our faith into action. Time to sing together now. Our first hymn is I Dream of a Church. It's number 68 in your purple books, or for those joining via Zoom, the words will be up on your screen. Feel free to stand or sit as you prefer to sing along to this lovely tune, I Dream of a Church.
Thank you.
So let's take all of those joys and concerns, be them spoken or unspoken, and let's take them into an extended time of prayer now. This is based on some words by Calvin Dame. You might want to adjust your position to get more comfortable, maybe put down anything you don't need to be holding. You might want to close your eyes, or if there's a position that helps you feel more prayerful, whatever works for you, whatever helps you get into the right state of body and mind for us to pray together now, to be fully present as best we can with ourselves, each other, and that which is both within us and beyond us. Spirit of life, God of all love, in whom we live and move and have our being, we turn our attention to you, the light within and without, as we tune into the depths of this life and the greater wisdom to which and through which we are all intimately connected. Be with us now as we allow ourselves to drop into the silence and the stillness at the very center of our being. May we this day be grateful for the gift of life which is ours, remembering that today and always the precious life we have and hold is to us a mystery. May we this day be reminded of the responsibilities we carry, not that we may be overwhelmed or intimidated, but so that we may be true to them, so that we may be faithful in carrying them forward. May we this day maintain a sense of perspective, remembering who we are, engaging the tasks at hand, but understanding our limitations, understanding our own shortcomings, and forgiving ourselves and others when we fall short of perfection. May we this day be inspired, be filled with new breath, filled with new enthusiasm, and ready to see fresh possibility, new perspective, and unnoticed avenues for fruitful action. And may we this day remember those virtues that bless our lives and bless the lives of others, the virtues of caring and concern, the virtues of truthfulness and integrity, the virtues of charity, good work, and persistence, remembering that this world may be made a little more fair, a little more just, more equitable by our humble efforts, as we stand up to be counted when it really matters and live according to our faith. And in a few quiet moments now, let us each look back over the week just gone to take stock of it all. The many everyday cares and concerns of our own lives, and those concentric circles of concern that ripple outwards until they enfold the entire world and all those lives which ultimately touch our own. Let us take a while to sit quietly in prayer with all that's on our hearts this day. And let us also take a few moments to notice all the good that's happened in this past week. Moments of uplift and delight, of beauty and pleasure, of all those acts of generosity and kindness that we have witnessed. The hopes and the dreams and the possibilities that are bubbling up and reminding us that we are alive. There's still a lot to be grateful for. So let's take a few moments to sit quietly in prayer and give thanks. Spirit of life, God of all love, as this time of prayer draws to a close, we offer up our joys and our concerns, our hopes and our fears, our beauty and our brokenness, and we call on you for insight, healing and renewal. As we look forward now to the coming week, help us to live well each day and be our best selves, using our unique gifts in the service of love, justice and peace. Amen. Time to sing again. For many years when I first came to the church, this was almost the Unitarian hymn. We would sing it so often. We don't tend to sing it so much these days. Perhaps we overdid it a bit. But I know it's one that means a lot to many of us. Spirit of Life. It's number 148 in the Purple Book. I wonder if we might stay seated for this one and sing it in a prayerful spirit. And let's sing it twice through. And the words will be up on your screens as well. Spirit of Life. So a few months ago in autumn 2022, it was announced that our General Assembly, the National Unitarian Organisation, would be creating a new post at Unitarian headquarters, a social action officer, someone who would be charged with supporting congregations and individuals across our movement with making an impact in the field of social justice. Ann Howell, a member of our Lewisham congregation, was appointed to that post, and I invited her to introduce herself to us today, and she sent a video along. She'll say a few words about what it means to put our faith into action.
Good morning. My name is Ann Howell, and I am the GA Social Action Officer, and I am here to speak about my role and my connection to social action and Unitarianism. We all have our personal story of how and why we first connected with the Unitarian faith. For myself, although I'm technically not a lifelong Unitarian, I did grow up going to church regularly, and perhaps because this church was Unitarian/congregational, it did not scar me for life or make me distrust religion entirely, and hence I was a bit predisposed to Unitarianism when it came up later on. During my 20s, I wasn't particularly inspired to carry on my church going, apart from the obligatory Christmas and Easter. My mother was an organist, so I was kind of obliged. But all of that changed in my early 30s when a personal tragedy led me searching for a supportive community, and I found it at my local Unitarian church in Montreal, Canada. After a relatively brief time, I found not only community, but a path to create meaningful connections in my life. This is not just from the deep and insightful Sunday services and spiritual programming that the church offered, but more from getting involved with the outreach work the church was doing in the local area. The community had a strong sense of purpose, and so therefore, so did I. Now, fast forward 7 years, and I'm newly arrived in London without any local connections, apart from my husband and his network of friends and colleagues. My first port of call was my local Unitarian church, which happened to be New Unity, led by, at the time, Reverend Andy Pikula. And in the blink of an eye, I was volunteering for newsletter duty and getting on committees. And before I knew it again, I was part of the teams that helped breathe life into Fuse and Simple Gifts. I'll leave it to Roy to speak about the important work going on at Simple Gifts, but the legacy of my time there is now being borne out in my new role as Social Action Officer. It's clear to me that social action is at the heart of our Unitarian faith. How we engage with the world, the actions we take to spread love, compassion, and inclusivity, from the smallest personal interactions to the largest coordinated efforts, these all speak to our Unitarian values. In my short time in my current GA post, I have heard from Unitarians around the UK about how relatively small social outreach activities have helped their congregations make deeper attachment to their local areas. Often this translates to bums on seats, but sometimes the deeper connection itself is the main reward, and that's an important one. When we show the world that we are a faith that welcomes all, that strives to treat everybody with kindness and compassion, that we offer a supportive shoulder during a crisis, and also inspiration for spiritual growth when there is that desire, these are the kind of engagements and connections that make our communities relevant and worth preserving and nurturing for future growth. There is a significant amount of global angst and ennui given all that we've been through in recent years, and we are still experiencing regarding climate crisis, the war in Ukraine, economic hardship, the threatened collapse of the NHS, etc. It can all feel more than a little overwhelming. But this is when our faith community can show its strength, support those in need, give voice to the marginalized, and offer the space for exploration of new ideas, new ways of being. We have the opportunity to be the change we want to see, and now we need to connect with each other and do what we can to relieve suffering, spread love and compassion. And this is exactly what I'll be fostering and developing during my 5-year mandate at the GA. Thank you very much. And feel free to get in touch with any ideas or concerns or thoughts about social action and Unitarianism. My email is just ahowell@unitarian.org.uk. All right, take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Apologies for the difficulties with sync with that video. It was perfectly synced until the service started, and I have no idea what went wrong. Maybe the people at home got it in perfect sync. It'll be on the website if you want to watch it again later, and I can give you Anne's email address if anyone wants to get in touch. Anyway, thank you, Anne. We're going to move into a time of meditation now, and I'm going to offer just a few words to reflect on. Unusually for us, it's a quote from the Bible, which those of you in the building can find on the front of your order of service, and those joining via Zoom can find on the church website along with the full text of the service. We're going to take those words from the book of James into a few minutes of silence, which will end with the sound of a bell, and then we're going to hear some music for meditation from Jess. So let's each, once again, do what we need to get comfortable. You might want to put your feet on the floor to ground and steady yourself, or close your eyes, maybe look at the candle. The words and the music, they're just an offering. Feel free to use this time to meditate in your own way. So these words come from the book of James, chapter 2, verses 14 to 17. What good is it if someone claims to have faith but has no deeds? Can such faith save them? Suppose a brother or a sister is without clothes and daily food. If one of you says to them, "Go in peace, keep warm and well fed," but does nothing about their physical needs, what good is it? In the same way, faith by itself, if not accompanied by action, is dead. Words from the book of James. So as we move into this time of shared stillness, let's reflect on those challenging words and what they say to us about faith in action. What might your faith be prompting you to do?
Good morning. Jane has invited me to talk about social action at New Unity, the Unitarian Church on Newington Green. New Unity is a member of Citizens UK, which is the outfit behind the Real Living Wage, behind Safe Passage, behind No Child Should Go Hungry, and countless other campaigns. Citizens' power lies in community organising, modelled on the American civil rights movement, working through its member organisations. As well as the big national campaigns, it trains and empowers citizens to mobilise for the things that matter to them, perhaps something as small and perhaps seemingly insignificant as a pedestrian crossing near their school. Members, like us, decide on the campaigns or actions by listening to their own congregations and neighbours and then working out what we might be able to do. At the moment, we're working with other London members on winning care workers the London Living Wage and on getting people on gas and electricity prepayment meters a better deal. Membership of Citizens is made up of organisations rather than individuals, churches, schools, food banks, mosques, synagogues, etc., working together. Here's just one example of a citizen's action so that you know what I'm talking about. Vulnerable households unlucky enough to have electricity and gas prepayment meters thrust upon them not only have been paying top dollar for their energy, but also have the problem of topping up before they can get any gas or electricity at all. A company called Payzone operates a countrywide top-up system, but topping up can be a humiliating experience. Some shopkeepers make illegal charges. Others demand that the customer buys something. Some are just rude to customers they easily identify as poor. So we thought, why not get Payzone's top-up terminals installed in community spaces? We asked. Payzone hesitated. We asked again, saying we'd like to talk about it and that we were going to hand deliver a request for a meeting with the chief executive. Oh, and by the way, we said, there will be a bunch of us, including the Mayor of Hackney, bringing the letter, and we'll bring mince pies and we will sing you a carol. Then they said yes. We got the meeting. The machines are now installed. When we went to seek a meeting with Barchester, a huge care home operator which refuses to commit to paying their care workers the living wage, we took a brass band along to play outside their offices. And we sang them carols too. So far, no response, but we'll be back. Citizens' actions are firm, fun, and effective. The system works time after time. Here's what happened when we went to see Payzone just before Christmas. And by the way, excuse the poor quality of the video. I made it. It's not what I do.
I'm going to give Dan the letter for Andrew to pass on. So this is a letter, and what we're wanting to do, we're Hackney and Islington Citizens, so we're a coalition of community groups, churches, schools, food bank. We are all working to serve our communities and help tackle poverty and deprivation in our communities and help care for our neighbours. And one of the things that we've realised is lots of our members have real problems with accessing Payzone meters to get their energy cards topped up and that sort of thing. We also have this real concern that some of us as community groups can raise discretionary funds that we'd like to donate onto people's key meters, but to do that we need the equipment. So we've written to Andrew asking for him to meet with us so that we can talk about Payzone supporting community efforts to tackle fuel poverty. And as I said, happily, he has said that he'd love to meet with us. But we're going to give you this. There's the proper copy of the letter and the mince pies. And we've got a song to sing, which we're going to film as well. So I'll give you that. You don't have to join in with the singing, but we'd love to serenade you today. So shall we? Let's sing it. Let's sing here. Here we go. Here we go, everybody.
Away in East London, wherever you roam, our neighbours are struggling to eat up their home. No cash for the meter, for gifts or for food. The whole cost of living has gone through the roof. We've had an idea, a solution to share, to make this hard winter a bit less unfair. Give pay zone equipment to our church and food bank, and you, Andrew Goddard, are the man we would thank. A pay zone in a food bank would help us to care for the cold and the hungry as they gather there. We'll top up their key cards with donations we raise and help heat their houses both now and always. So let's make it easy in our community to help out each other with our energy. We all need a warm home. Who could disagree? But to make this now happen, you alone hold the key.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Take a copy of the lyrics to give you as well, and then we'll send it. So Dan, what's your role with post office? Facility supervisor. Great, fantastic. Well, I know that the offices are elsewhere, but when he's coming down here, you can make sure he has a letter.
Don't worry, I'll make sure he does.
Great.
And I'll thank him for the warning as well.
Please give a mince pie to our gentleman here on the door. I know it's always a bit intimidating when a vicar with radio up there.
We work with citizens and we also have our own projects. I have campaigned for a better world for most of my adult life. I first went to New Unity out of curiosity rather than any desire to become a Unitarian. What I found was a faith-based community that shared my passion and my beliefs, that only by working together can we bring about the fair and just world which we all long to see. We would like to invite anyone in this congregation who is interested to come along, see what we do, and join us if it suits them. Thank you.
I had to follow that, really. It's very impressive. Thank you, David. Well, good morning, everyone. For the last few years, I've had the privilege of serving on the board of Simple Gifts, which is the Unitarian Centre for Social Action. Based in the former Unitarian Mission Church in Mansford Street in Bethnal Green, Simple Gifts was co-created by two Americans living here in London, the Reverend Rob Gregson, who has since returned stateside, and Ann Howell, who you heard from earlier, and is a very good friend of mine, and she's doing wonderful work. At its foundation in 2011, the twin aims of Simple Gifts was to support and serve the children, parents, and older people from the local, mostly immigrant communities at the church, which is obviously turned into a community centre, and to create and run a national social justice training programme for UK Unitarians. This training, as we've heard, is now led by Anne at a national level, while Simple Gifts itself concentrates on the goal of making a difference locally. Current activities include a sewing group, after-school club, a walking group, ESOL, which is English for speakers of other languages. Drop-in benefits advice and support sessions, martial arts for kids, and yoga. Plus, I must mention our famous regular community lunches, delicious food prepared and cooked by our service users for everyone in the neighborhood to drop in, share, and enjoy. We also run Simple Gifts Kids Club, which runs throughout the summer, as well as Christmas and Easter school holidays. These kids camp weeks are packed with fun games, sports, and learning activities, fully staffed by our lovely volunteers and led by our paid project coordinator, Lippy Cannon. All of the above clubs, events, advice sessions, activities, and services are offered free. Bringing communities together is a major part of what we do at Mansford Street. Children play together, parents and elders from diverse cultural backgrounds come together. Families who have lived in the East End for generations meet more recent incomers and newly arrived immigrants to chat, get to know each other over a shared meal or coffee, and they find they have much in common, shared struggles, values, and aspirations. It's a kind of magic, and another reason why community hubs of this sort are so important and valuable. In the early days, Simple Gifts was funded mainly by the National Unitarian movement centered at Essex Hall, supplemented by collections and fundraising by individual congregations like here in Kensington. Whilst this revenue stream is still important to us, and we are immensely grateful for its help and support, we have in recent years embarked on a major independent fundraising drive. Coordinated by our talented and hardworking Centre Director, Shaweb Ahmed, we have successfully applied for grants and bursaries from both public and private organisations and charitable trusts. We have also, through careful marketing and management of our building, rented rooms and activity spaces to a wide variety of community hirers and local businesses. This significant additional income has allowed us to greatly increase both the range of activities offered and the quality of provision. We are currently in the process of a major refurbishment due to this funding of all our spaces, including redecorating all of our activity rooms, laying new flooring throughout the building, installing new bathroom fittings and fixtures, revamping the kitchen, and replacing the external lighting and signage. So that's the little bit of history and a taster of what we do now. But what's next? What's for the future? Well, we've set up an informal community feedback panel made up of our service users who meet regularly and let us know what is working, and for that matter, what is not working. And they bring forward ideas and suggestions for lots of new events and services that we might offer. Obviously, this in itself is really useful input. But our longer aim with this community feedback panel is to gently encourage its members to, through appropriate support and training, to join the board. We are determined to evolve a top-down model. Sorry, we are determined to evolve from a top-down model to a much more inclusive structure where the community has an active investment in the development of their centre. Simple Gifts is moving towards being led by the community itself. But the Unitarian values of dignity, equality, and compassion are still and will always remain the centre of what we do. I'd like to end with, if I may, with a personal perspective of my time at Simple Gifts and why I give my time to helping out. As I said at the outset, it is a true privilege to be involved with this charity and to be part of improving the lives of some of the poorest and most deprived communities in the UK. We're living in very difficult and troubling times, but I'm not powerless to make positive change. None of us are. There are many small, quiet ways people are working at to make things a bit better where they live or close to home. There are people helping to produce and distribute affordable food locally, as we are doing at Simple Gifts. Beginning this spring, using donated old railway sleepers and soil, we are creating a new community garden, allowing people without access to outside space to grow their own food and connect with nature. We also throw open our kitchen and dining area to those refugee communities who miss food from home but have no cooking facilities in the hostels and the hotels where they live. The one proviso being that they all do the washing up. Repair cafes, where volunteers fight waste and overconsumption, are becoming popular. And we endeavour to do this in the aforementioned sewing club. Across the world, individuals, communities, and social action enterprises, including Unitarian and Unitarian Universalists, are tackling local problems: plastic waste, flooding, energy consumption, declining biodiversity, and implementing pragmatic local solutions. Small changes are impactful, but it's not just about impact. It's about your being, about living the best life you can. I have long since come to realize that my best life means helping others, which means finding ways to be useful. And Simple Gifts, which is making a real difference to real lives, allows me to do my bit, however small. If you'd like to learn more about Simple Gifts and the work we do, or to help out in any way, please feel free to get in touch. The web addresses will be, I think it's already online, so, but feel free to chat to me afterwards, or anytime you can contact me through the contact list that we have here. So thank you.
Thanks, Roy, and thanks, David, for those two excellent examples of Unitarian faith in action. One last hymn now, one of our absolute favourites, We'll Build a Land. It's number 198 in the hymn books, or the words will be up on screen. Sing out, We'll Build a Land.
We'll
Just a few announcements then. Thanks to Anne and David and Roy for sharing their reflections with us. Thanks to Ramona for tech hosting and Charlotte at home for co-hosting. Thanks to Jess and Peter for playing for us. For those of you that are here in person, David will be serving tea, coffee, biscuits, and coffee and walnut cake by special request of birthday person Carolyn. So yeah, get yourself served quickly, and yeah, it's not a massive cake, so there may be some competition for slices. Thanks to Patricia for greeting. Thanks. I think that's all my thanks. There will be virtual coffee time immediately after the service. We've got various small group activities during the week for you to meet up. Green Spirit are having an equinox gathering tomorrow, 1 till 4. Oh, David's got something to say. Can you come to the microphone, please, David? Come to this one, please.
Yes, if anyone's got any questions to ask about that, do ask me after the service over tea and coffee. I was told this morning that there's also a late start option, 1:45 to start for the workshop, but missing the lunch, if that's more suitable for you.
Thanks, David. So that's tomorrow for the equinox activities. Coffee mornings online on Wednesday at 10:30 as usual, and there are still spaces left for our heart and soul contemplative spiritual gatherings tonight or Friday at 7 o'clock. This week's theme is Getting Unstuck. In passing, I just want to mention a couple of events that are coming up that you might be interested in. The booking for Fuse is well and truly open. That's the Festival of Unitarianism in the South East. That has shifted both dates and venue this year. It's happening in June in the Friars in Kent, which is an old Carmelite priory. So that's the booking for that is open for a couple more weeks. And booking is about to open for Hucklow Summer School back in Great Hucklow this August. 50 to 60 Unitarians gathering in the beautiful Peak District to explore a theme through talks and engagement groups and generally have a lovely time. So there'll be an email about both of those events later in the week. Next Sunday service will be led by me and Patricia on the theme of All About Me, ? And this should be fun. We're going to have a bunch of students coming to visit us next week to ask questions about Unitarianism and how we make a diverse spiritual community. That'll be an interesting conversation. And after next week, there'll also be a singing class with Margaret. Margaret will be back. Details of all of our activities are on the back of the order of service. This congregation very much has a life beyond Sunday mornings. We encourage you to keep in touch with each other and nurture supportive connections. Patricia, I think you want to come and say something.
This is just a reminder of a meeting that the search committee have called for 12 o'clock after you've had your tea and coffee. The idea is to let you tell us what you're looking for in a new minister. I will be facilitating. Janine will be here to chair. Brian will have the roving mic. And everything that I'm going to make notes of today will be posted to the congregation and the members tomorrow morning. Okay, and that will form part of our conversation at our next search committee meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Patricia. Just our closing words and closing music now then. As we prepare to depart, we give voice to these hopes. We know ourselves bound in community even while we're apart. May a passion for justice and equity burn throughout our lives. May we carry the light of compassion in our hearts and in our every interaction. May we be whole in our devotion to truth and always carry the lamp of peace before us. And may we truly show our faith in action as we go out and meet the days to come. Amen.